What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Fantastic Frankie, here with one of the stars of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, Nazanin. So excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. You are representing a new character to the franchise. And I just wanted to dive in really quickly about that character and how do you connect with her?
I love playing Bronwyn. She's a human from the Southlands. She's the mother to a rebellious teenage son in a forbidden romance with an elf, and she's a healer. The elf that she's in love with, or fallen in love with, is also tasked with watching over her people, the Southlanders, because the Southlanders, historically, her ancestors chose the side of evil over good. So they've been banished to barren lands. They're outcasts. They're not trusted by the elves or anyone else. And so there's not only this forbidden romance with an elf that's only happened, that human elf interaction has only happened, love story has only happened twice in history, and both times it has not ended well. So they're sort of like, it's forbidden for a reason. But he's also watching over her people. So there's a power dynamic there that's super fascinating. And I love her because she turns out to be a lot stronger and more resilient than people give her credit for.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I've noticed about this property is this is by far the most diverse fantasy in media that we've ever seen. Can you touch about how that makes you feel? What drew you to this
property? I mean, the thing that resonated with me about my character is she's a healer. I was pre-med, I was going to be a doctor, but she's also, she's trying to redeem her people. She's fighting to liberate and redeem her people so that they can be trusted, so they can move on from their past. And women in my homeland, Iran, are at the forefront of the fight for democracy and freedom. And I am a longtime human rights activist for my homeland. So it resonates with me, that sort of inner lioness that she has. And I drew inspiration a lot from the women of Iran, the brave women of Iran, who are fighting every day for a better tomorrow at great personal cost, risk. And it's about time, I say, that this fellowship that we see on screen is a fellowship of different beings, different creeds and cultures, elves, dwarves, Harfoots, humans coming together, Numenorians, and trying to overcome adversity, all trying to fight a common enemy, evil. So it's this battle of evil versus good. And this fellowship is made of such a diverse group of beings. Why shouldn't the cast be as diverse as the creatures that you see, or the beings that you see in Middle Earth? And I think the fact that we have this diverse cast helps that fellowship. I think the fact that you're seeing first time, the first elf of color, the first dwarf of color, I think that these things are wonderful in and of themselves as far as diversity and representation. But also, I want to point out that every single actor, whatever race, culture, or creed or ethnicity, has been cast because they are the perfect person for the role. And that's what matters the most to me, is that there isn't exclusion, that everybody's considered. But at the end of the day, the best person for the role is cast. I can't imagine anyone else in any of these roles that I see on screen.
I love that. And I love to hear that you recognize the parallels between our experiences and fantasy and why we love fantasy so much. Speaking about that, the Lord of the Rings fandom and lore runs so deep and it's going on close to 80 years that it's been going on. So how does it feel to be part of such a big property and to build on that lore?
It's an honor. It's a privilege that I don't take lightly. We are all pinching ourselves. We're going on this global press tour. And every day we wake up counting our blessings that we get to do this. The production value on this, I know people keep talking about the most expensive TV show ever made, but honestly, what I care most about is that you're going to see why it is, because you're going to see the production value. The cast, all of us came together and watched the first 3 episodes for the first time a few weeks ago. And I was fangirling over this cast. I was fangirling over the show, regardless of whether I'm in it or not. It's you'll see why it took us. It's been 3 years in the making, as far as from the first day we started a production to to now. It's been 3 years. It's a long time. And there was a pandemic during that time. And the struggles that we all went through, we are kind of like a microcosm of what that was, separated from loved ones, for an extended period of time. So to see this come to fruition, this moment where we can finally share it with the world, means so much to us. But more importantly than that, fantasy has this unique ability to comfortably cushion us into a world where we can explore our existential longing, what it is to be human, the most basic human dilemmas. These characters are all archetypes and personifications of the most basic human dilemmas: love, loyalty, trust, good versus evil, the things that are both timeless and universal. They belong to all of us always. And that is the most beautiful part of this show.
I love that. What is your favorite part about this world?
That what I just that's I've grown to fall in love with Tolkien. We, a lot of the times people ask us actors on the cast, how do you feel about, they'll ask a question about the fandom. And we are part of that fandom. So we don't separate ourselves when it comes to talking about, it's not like the actors and the fans are separate. We have become huge Tolkien fans, and our showrunners are, loyalists to Tolkien. So every element that you see in our show is a nod. If it's new, it's a nod to Tolkien. It's very much anchored in Middle-earth and Tolkien's universe. And of course, you're going to get a very healthy fix of the familiar, everything that's recognizable to us, that we've seen before on screen, that we can relate to when it comes to Tolkien. So I love this sort of something for the diehard sort of fans of what they've already seen on screen, what they've read, but also an injection of something that is new, that we're going to see coastlines, we're going to see Numenor for the first time on screen. These are things that I think diehard fans and newcomers will gravitate towards.
I'm so happy to hear that all the actors are also fans and that it's not separate. I agree. And I think we can see it in the small things that we did see, how much you immerse yourself in the world. So that's amazing. If your younger self could see yourself now, what would she think?
I don't think she would. I don't think a younger Nazanin would see this day coming, if I'm honest. I was having a really great conversation with Ismail Cruz-Cordova, who plays the elf Arondir, who I fall in love with, Bronwyn falls in love with. And we both have this experience of pinching ourselves that this moment has come where people like us get to be in fantasy. And, it matters because honestly, if we can't see it, we can't dream it. And, I think that I didn't see it. I didn't see it in something particularly this big. And also, I've been blessed because every step of the way, my first comedy was How I Met Your Mother, and it happened to be one of the biggest comedies in America. My first drama as a series regular was Homeland, which is iconically, part of the cultural zeitgeist of American television, global television. And then this is my first fantasy. So I'm pinching myself. Like, how does this happen? So yeah, I feel like I'm just really blessed.
Yeah, what a fantasy to start off in. It's huge. So you spoke about all these properties. What are you binging right now?
There's a number of things. For the first time, I'm late to the party, guys, but I watched the morning show and I absolutely loved it. I binged it all in its entirety, and wow, the acting, the storytelling, all of it. And Tehran, I have a number of friends on Tehran, which I love. I just watched The Essex Serpent, which with my dear Claire Danes, which, she's extraordinary in everything she does. I'm a sort of addicted to sort of finding good shows and binging.
Is there one thing you would love for us to share with our fans?
I just want to share with the fans that, we as a cast are so grateful for the passion that the fans are bringing, for the support. Hall H and Comic-Con was an iconic moment we will never forget. 6,500 fans in there showing their love and support for this cast. And yes, it's a diverse cast, and yes, every woman on this show is empowered. There's such agency for every female character, that the writers have really created strong female characters that are not only reliant on their male counterparts, but stand in the show in their own right. And that across entertainment is super important, regardless of what genre we're talking about. It's really important that, we had Galadriel, for example, very, very much a strong female presence in the Tolkien world. And now, this has been in every single world that you see on this show. You will have that. You will see that presence from myself in the Southlands, Sophia Nomvete as Princess Disa, and the Dwarven world, of course, the incredible Morvith Clark as the top elf, and across the board, Cynthia Dye Robinson as Queen Miriel, Markella Kavanagh in the Harfoot world. It is anchored in strong female roles, and that is that's just so important to me, and I know everybody on our show.